Welcome to chapter 14 of Kin in Line, and you find me in a tricky place. I must have done this probably in my last year of art school. I had postponed going to the army, the South African Defence Force, as a military conscript for the past 4 years. And the length of time that conscription that one had to do as a conscript went from about a year to 2 years. So much for my avoiding it. I ended up doing even longer than I might have. And I think this sort of drawing illustrates how I probably felt. What the hell have I done? But anyway, I avoided certain big battles that happened in Angola and so forth. But we'll get on to that in the future as these drawings evolve, and I've left art school, and I obviously did a lot of drawing in the army. But yeah, look at that. I was never really to master etching, and this was, I think, what they called dry point, or a combination of dry point. And yeah, it's really a pity it has no real focal point. Sort of strange figure in a textured egg-like shape, and that's about it. Yeah, this one I quite enjoyed. I've used a bit of some numbers down the bottom there. That was a bit of a gimmick, but I think maybe the military aspect was already hanging over me. But this is a silk screen, and yeah, I think my Demetrius Spiro, our lecturer, probably had quite a bit of influence on the final product here, but because he certainly produced some wonderful silk screen prints. But I rather like this as well. This, by contrast, was kind of nowhere. It was a lino cut, and really it was a failed lino cut, I'm afraid. Yeah. So although I wasn't religious, here I went to the crucifixion, as so many artists have done, and I sort of seem to have encased the figure in almost like a pop tulip shape. I'm not sure about the composition or the whole concept, but yeah, I think I enjoy the effect of etching. I mean, those lines, no wonder people like Rembrandt got such great satisfactory results. The great masters, I mean, this was one of their mediums. Yeah, here's that same lino cut, which I then used, I think they call it offset. There was this other method where you sort of uniprint now. Anyway, sort of added a bit of texture and interest there. Didn't really work. So the pile, these are just sort of variations on this theme color-wise, but they didn't, any of them salvage it. It's maybe the most interesting of them all. And more copies of this thing. And this guy again, quite a few. So if anybody wants to buy one of these, I'll sign it, and you can take it. Looking at it now, maybe this is the way up it should stand. I don't know. It's one of those. Yeah, actually, no, I think this works for me best. So, yeah, whatever. And then I think I showed a drawing of this one earlier, which I used as the sort of basis for this quite effective woodcut, with the small shacks in the foreground, the houses, the mansions, and the cityscape. The colours work quite nicely. Yeah, I think they're all the same, so quite happy with that, actually. Here's another attempt at an etching with too much texture and not enough clarity, sadly. And then a bit of a waste of effort here, I think, with this woodcut, or lino cut, I think it might have been. Anyway, try to use the karate idea. Maybe some Japanese buyer would love this, because there are quite a few of them lurking here. Just like that character in the Pink Panther movies, waiting to jump out and attack Peter Sellers. There's plenty of them here, just lurking. And another one of these. And then my love of watching surfing, even if I didn't do it myself, emerged with this. The colours on the camera are actually better than in real life. The orange that you see is actually red, and it doesn't work as well as the orange. This was done in 1977. And now we're back to the drawing board, as it were. The face, it's quite interesting. This is probably the same model that I found so attractive earlier. Now I've really made her look not attractive at all, but the drawing is still very good, I think. Yeah. And then we also saw a mock-up of this, which I've, for some reason, presented this way up, signing it at the bottom there. But I prefer it like that. I think that's how it should have been. So this isn't a print, this is actually just ink. Another large drawing coming up. Looks like it might have been another one used in an exam or something. So this actually gives you a nice sense of the whole, because I've colored in a bit, drawn in a bit of the background. So you've got easels, screen behind. There, there's two chairs on the right propping up her. It's a donkey. I think that's one of those things that you sat on. So he's used a donkey to prop up the cushions. It's a very tricky pose for this woman to have to lean in for. This would have gone on for hours. But then they were given a break every so often. Yeah, gee. So all this drawing, I mean, one forgets how much time one spent doing this. Just back on the political bent here, more PFP characters. That was a guy called Yapi Basson. I can see his face straight away. I think this was Zach de Beer again. And my chess set. Yeah, so I made one with colors. This has actually worked quite well, and I think I sold it to Mr. Luck. Don't know what he did with it. But I used red, yellow, blue, and green sides to each piece. So again, it was going to be a sculpture with each side that faced you would be one color. I think it really worked. I'd love to be able to make this again. I think this was from that same day when we had the woman moving around, piece chopped out of it, unfortunately. So this was a good day's drawing with the mobile, sort of expressive model. And I think on this note, we're going to have to call it a day. So thanks for joining me. Cheers for now.